Okay, so this chapter actually has some crazy reveals. First off, we pick up where the last chapter left off, with Noelle stabbing Vonica through the stomach, and then we get this amazingly drawn panel by Tabata of the sea dragon's roar that Noelle has shot at her at the end of the last chapter, crashing down onto the ground, and then the two of them immediately going back into the battle. Which, again, I praise the way that Tabata drew Noelle's fighting style in the last chapter, and I have to keep praising it in this chapter as well, because again, throughout the entire fight sequence that we get between the two of them in this chapter, it is like she is dancing beautifully throughout the entire fight. Now, just like in the last chapter, Noelle is completely dominating this fight. Vonica is trying her best to land a hit on Noelle but keeps missing, and Noelle seemingly can't miss a single attack on Vonica. And honestly, I gotta say I was a little bit more impressed with the way that Vonica is getting dealt with in this chapter than I was when Asta was fighting against Little Phenomenal, or even the fused version of Little Phenomenal. Because, yeah, the same kind of sequence of events happened where Asta was easily dodging all their attacks, but at the same time, it took a long time for Asta to land one hit on Nama. And I mean, yeah, I know that Asta was fighting against two opponents while Noelle was fighting against one, and honestly, I'm not saying that Noelle in her current state is stronger than Asta when he's in his double union, but still, I gotta say, the way Tabata presented the fights between the two characters is definitely more impressive on Noelle's side than it was on Asta's. Now, like I said, throughout the entire chapter, Noelle is just dominating Vonica, and usually in this kind of situation where a character is getting dominated during a fight, they would continue to grow more and more frustrated. But with Vonica and how crazy she is, she's getting more and more excited the more she ends up getting attacked by Noelle, because she's just so impressed by how strong Noelle has become. And she actually has twisted in her mentality that the more they fight, the closer they become as friends. In fact, once Noelle actually finally defeats Vonica and has her laying out on the ground ready to land the final strike on her, Vonica tells her, "This is what it feels like to be best friends. Now I'm going to go get stronger, and we're going to fight again, and we're going to continue to do this because we now became rivals." And you know, I gotta say, I continue to be impressed with the way that Tabata actually wrote Vonica, because she easily became a fan favorite character when it comes to the Dark Triad. And honestly, when she was first introduced, I just figured she'd be the crazy, kind of sadistic member of the team. And really, I kind of saw her originally as just a version of Sally that's cranked up to 11. And honestly, you can make a genuine argument that she pretty much just is. The big difference is that Tabata eventually kind of redeems Sally, while at the same time, it doesn't seem like he's going to be redeeming Vonica, at least not yet. Which I think is a good thing, because I honestly don't want Vonica to be redeemed. I prefer the crazy, sadistic, evil character that she is currently, who just wants to find a friend who she can actually be rivals with and continue to fight and just have that endless, long, ongoing battle between the two of them. And honestly, I really do love her as a foil for Noelle. I mean, I know it would be more poetic for Noelle's character to get justice for her mom by killing Vonica and Megicula in this arc, but personally, I'd actually like to see if Megicula and Vonica actually show back up, or at the very least, just Vonica, because Noelle could get the justice that she needs for her mother's death by killing off Megicula, since technically Megicula was the one who killed off her mom, not Vonica. And then we could have Vonica actually show back up in later arcs, assuming that we do get them. And plus, since Noelle is most likely going to be losing Udine by the end of the arc, the two of them going forward might actually be pretty equal in strength. And it would be kind of interesting, since Noelle currently doesn't really have a rival character, for Vonica to be her rival. And I mean, I guess there's Kahano and Elfana, but Kahano hasn't showed up in a very long time, despite how much I've been begging for her and her brother to show up during this arc. And the Elfana isn't involved in this arc at all, and really seems to just be kind of hanging out in the sanctuary that they are staying at. So I don't really see them as her rivals right now. Anyway, once Noelle rejects the idea of being Vonica's best friend and rival going forward, she goes in for the killing blow, and then this is when she actually gets stopped by Megicula's voice revealing herself to everyone in the room. And she starts off by saying that she continues to find Vonica more and more interesting, which I just assume is her saying that she is entertained by how batshit crazy Vonica is, which, to be fair, that's pretty much the reason why a majority of her fan base for this series loves the character. But she mentions that the entertainment that she's getting from Vonica is not the reason why she stuck around her for so long. And she reveals that in order for her to have her physical body manifest in the human world, which apparently this is something that she was keeping secret from even Lucifero himself, that in order for that to happen, she needs the souls of 3 incredibly powerful same-sex mages, which I'm assuming in the official translation is going to be translated to female mages, but she needs the souls of them to kind of be sacrifices in order for her to achieve her full body in the human world. And just like how she took over half of Vonica's body the first time Noelle and Vonica fought, she actually takes over pretty much the entirety of Vonica's body in this chapter, except for a part of her left arm and her 2 legs. And we get to reveal to what Megicula actually really looks like, and I gotta say, Tabata really killed it with his design. I mean, I loved Lilith and Nama's design as well, but he really outdid himself with design for Megicula. Anyway, once Megicula's in her physical form, she tells Noelle that she feels a little bit sorry for Vonica, but in order for her to fully manifest in the human world, she needs both Vonica and Lord Pachika to die, which brings into question, why does she need 3 incredibly powerful same-sex mages if she only needs 2 of them to die for her to enter the human world? But I'm sure that's kind of like a mistranslation for the fan translation part. But she says before that she plans on killing Vonica and Lord Pachika to achieve her true form in the human world. She wants to have a little bit more fun. So she actually kind of forms a dark form for Lord Pachika and sends her at Noelle and Gaja at the end of the chapter. So going into the next chapter, which even though I assumed the fight would be over in this one, we're continuing this fight between Megicula and Vonica, with Lord Pachika taking the center stage as being the puppet of Megicula now in a dark form. And man, I am really feeling bad for Lord Pachika, because the entirety of the arc since she's been introduced, and even prior to that when she got the curse put on her by Vonica, she's just continued to go through it, and she really does not deserve this. I honestly cannot wait till we get to the point where she's just free of all this and can just live a peaceful life going forward. But anyway, I'm assuming in the next chapter we're going to have Gaja fighting off against Lord Pachika, which honestly I was kind of hoping we actually get to see more of their interactions in their fight before Noelle and Vonica's fight ended. But with this new twist where Megicula is actually manifesting and taking control as the main antagonist in this fight, I do kind of like the fact that we're cutting away from that before we get to see Noelle finish her off, to dealing with finally the Gaja and Lord Pachika situation. And I'm assuming the fight between them is actually going to play out very similarly to how it did for Mars and Fauna, although because things have gotten a lot darker since that arc, I think we're possibly going to either see Gaja die, or at the very least get mortally wounded by Lord Pachika before she breaks free from Megicula's control. Or, and I really hope Tabata does not go this route, but we could potentially end up seeing both characters end up dying off, since Megicula needs Lord Pachika to die in order for her to manifest in the human world anyway. And speaking of that, when we eventually get to the fight between Megicula and Noelle, I'm really wondering how that fight's going to go down, because at this point, Noelle really has to be well within that 1 minute time limit for her Saint form. So eventually that's going to drop, and assuming that Megicula is even more powerful than the Vonica that she was fighting in this chapter and the last chapter, I really don't see how Noelle is going to stand a chance without her Saint form. So unless we're going to get kind of some kind of reveal that, maybe Noelle can actually go back into it immediately, or maybe, she actually runs away from the fight and then comes back after she rests up a little bit and then goes back into the same form to fight Megicula, I really don't see how she's going to win this fight without a little bit of help. Maybe Asta will show up at some point and help her out, but as of right now, I really don't see a way for Noelle to win this fight. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all that happened in this week's chapter. I'm actually looking forward to next week's chapter. It was really exciting to see the first of the 3 Dark Triad Devils finally appearing in the human world. I can't wait to see what ends up happening when we actually get the reveal of what Lucifero and Xenos Devil will actually look like, because I know that with the way Tabata drew Megicula, their designs has to be as equally impressive. But that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about the chapter, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.